is fantastic. Hi, everybody. Hey there. Hi. We have everybody coming online here. This is great. So if you can hear me right now, I'm going to go ahead and encourage everybody who's on the call so far that while we're waiting for people to kind of hop on and get their Zoom up and running, we would love to hear from you. Let us know if in the chat, if you are already a RemoteWinBox user. We have a bunch of people on our call. Some of these are our teammates and our dev team. So if you're already a remote user, hi Tyler, great, yes you are. And I've seen your interview on our YouTube channel and I absolutely love it. I watch it, I get a lot of good information from it as well, so thank you. Fantastic. Who else? Who else out there is already one of our RemoteWinBox customers? Fantastic. Hi, Jeff. I think I talked to you recently. That's great. We're looking forward to also doing an interview. So more people are still coming online. Now, I want to hear from you guys who are using RemoteWinBox right now. What is your favorite feature? If there's something that we have, put out there that is absolutely, changing your business, let us know. Are you an ISP, MSP, a WISP, small business owner, and maybe something that we've thrown into the mix in our feature platform is really working for you. Tyler, you're a WISP, excellent. And if there's too many features to list, I know that, as our video is playing in the background, a lot of the, features will pop up there. If there's something that sparks your interest and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that feature, I totally use that one, let us know. Not yet a WISP. Like I say, we have our development team on the call as well, some of our folks. So it's really great for them to hear what you're using. There's some of the 2022 features coming up on the screen now. And Jeff, you're a WISP as well. Not yet a WISP, looking for minimum alternatives. Okay, great. Well, fantastic. We'll talk about that a little bit today. And now we also, like I say, had some of our development team on the call today. So if you are on our team at RemoteWinBox and you want to share something, maybe a feature or some kind of development that you worked on in 2022 or this first part of 2023 that you enjoyed working on, or maybe it gave you a trouble and you learned something new in developing that feature, we want to hear about it and just kind of get the ball rolling there. Oh, great. Thank you, Tyler. Oh, appreciate that. And we'll give it a few more moments here. I'll probably start in just about, probably let that 2022 recap play one more time as people are hopping on. And then we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to take a look at the participant list and kind of see how we're doing here. All right, looks like a bunch of people have hopped on. Looks good. Who else? I know we have more than 2 people who are using our platform, but that's okay. If you're not very talkative in the chat, maybe we'll get you to talk a little bit later, or chat, type a little bit later. All right, you guys, as you see there, 2023 focus, polish, and performance. We're going to talk all about it. All right, you guys, I'm going to let this feature, just in case anybody's in the middle of typing something so important that they want us to know about these great features that we have. I'm going to let this video play one more time and let you get all the information out that you want ahead of time before we start. So Tyler has mentioned that Mario looks fly, and I think I think he's right. I think he's right. All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and get started here as this video is wrapping up. And so thank you guys so much for joining us today. My name is Claudia. I'm part of the team here with RemoteWinBox Admiral, and we're excited to review with you our progress in 2022 and Q1 of 2023 and release insights into our team's plans for the rest of the year. Whether you've joined us today because maybe you already use RemoteWinBox and you're just checking us out for the first time. We'll hope, or maybe you're checking us out for the first time, but we hope either way you're going to interact and add comments and questions to the chat as we go along. We're going to have plenty of time for Q&A, and we may even have a few questions for you because your feedback helps us steer this ship. So just keep in mind that this product roadmap presentation is intended to outline our general product direction. The details provided here are for information purposes only, and they're not a commitment to deliver specific functionality. The development, release, and timing of any features or functionality described here are still to be determined. But that being said, let's look at our track record and our plans for 2023. I'm going to pass it over to Mario, who is looking very sharp. He's our Chief Technology Officer. He's going to share some insights from last year's advances.
Thanks, Claudia. So in year 2022, we knocked out a decent number of features. Some of the bigger ones are listed on the screen, but I'll really highlight a few of them. So in 2022, we focused on expanding and improving Wi-Fi management and subscriber self-care. We added more monitoring to collect historical data for LAN devices, added OUI lookups to help identify those devices. We also did some work to help the installers and technicians. So we released Easy Config as a way for users to easily drop their default configuration onto the router. That includes RemoteWinBox configuration, and in that way, router can easily connect and provision into the RemoteWinBox dashboard. The goal with developing Easy Config was to reduce the installation time for your technicians. We made lots of user interface improvements. We made search, sort, and filter functionality include more data, and we're looking to expand that in 2023. And lastly, we released Bogon filter integration with Team Cymru. If you're not familiar, Team Cymru has been fighting bad actors for almost a couple of decades now. And at RemoteWinBox, we believe in being a good neighbor on the internet, and Team Cymru made it easy to develop a feature that'll help you drop the packets from bad actors on your network. If you have any thoughts or feedback on any of the features from 2022, let us know in the comments. Shoot an email. So in 2023, as you can see on the slide, our focus will be more so to polish and improve performance of the existing features. We're going to be expanding the existing features with some more functionality too. And with that in mind, here's some of the things that we've already did in 2023. So as you may have noticed, we introduced some billing software integration. In particular, we worked with Sonar and we implemented a barcode integration. The very first couple of features coming from billing integrations include customer data synchronization, automatic address lat and long updates, and an easy button to invite the primary email address to RemoteWinBox end user view. If you have any other suggestions or ideas for features that would include billing integrations, let us know, and we'll most certainly, take any ideas and bring them to the whiteboard. We worked on improving notifications. We added dashboard alerts for when a user schedules a Fleet Commander job or a firmware update. Recently, we also did some work on our daily notifications for router configuration changes and SMS notifications. That stuff is not out there yet, but it's coming soon. It is in the QA state currently, and we hope to release it next week or week after that. We also added some more historical LTE and sensors data. In particular, now we keep track of LTE signals, we keep track of voltages, power usage, fan speed, CPU usage per CPU instead of just the average. And these graphs can be found on the router health page. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll be able to find a load extra data button, and that'll load in the graphs. We also added the feature so you can add virtual access points to wireless interfaces, and we added Wake and LAN. We heard from some of our customers that they needed the ability to remotely power on a device after a power outage, so we built an easy button. With features that are coming out in the future, I will pass that on to Mark. He's our CEO, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows him, but Mark, go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Mario. My name is Mark. They call me MikroTik Mark. And you might be wondering, so what's next for RemoteWinBox? Well, we have a lot of features, and for 2023, as you heard, our vision is to enhance the existing feature set, make them even more useful. So there will be some new stuff, but the primary goal and focus is going to be on bringing more value to those features that are already out. So for example, we heard that our knock view that you see when you first log into the dashboard, it's a great feature, but it'd also be useful to be able to have a full screen map with the individual dots for routers, and it dynamically refreshes every minute so that you can leave that up on a big screen and have an idea of what the overall health of the network looks like. We're also going to go deeper on the alerting and notification mechanisms. So we're adding more ways to get your messages like SMS instead of just email, maybe Slack. And then we're also expanding what triggers a notification. So stuff such as SFP light level changes, speed and duplex changes, PoE power level changes. One new feature that ties together all the different notification events is what we call chronological view. This is going to be a historical view of all of the things that have happened with your MikroTik. So from reboots, firmware updates, security events, config changes, speed tests, all that stuff's going to be visible from one chronological timeline view. We're also finally seeing AX routers hit the market, and they're getting delivered. So one of our high priority tickets right now is to build in support for the way AX routers do Wi-Fi so that they're fully supported in RemoteWinBox. I'm also super excited about network topology. As a prior network engineer and architect, I know the struggle of keeping an up-to-date network diagram. We've been working on OSPF Mapper for a while now, and we've had both successes and failures. We had to go back to the drawing board because we need to finish making that scale. But just this morning, we put the finishing touches on Topology Mapper, which is what we call hierarchy view. So if you look in your beta features under hierarchy view on the dashboard, there's a button there to auto build their hierarchy. And that is now working on our dev and QA servers. That's another thing that'll be coming in the next week or two as we get that deployed to our live servers. Later this year, we'll enhance that hierarchy grouping to have smarter firmware updates, better fleet commander jobs, and further. In another example, we just released historical latency for router health to aid in troubleshooting. And we're already being asked to add additional endpoints to validate latency to more networks. So instead of just testing RemoteWinBox service, maybe you want to hit out somewhere in another cloud environment or out further on the internet. So again, the framework is there for this great feature set, and we're going to continue expanding on what's there to improve these tools and make them even more useful. So we're also working on enhancing our provisioning capabilities inside of RemoteWinBox. You heard a little bit of a start of that with easy config, what Mario talked about earlier. So imagine you bring a new MikroTik online and you'd like RemoteWinBox to apply first-time configuration template, or maybe even several different templates, one for security, one for Wi-Fi settings, another one for enhanced connectivity, who knows. So we're working on applying config templates to ticks by using RemoteWinBox. And eventually what I'd love to see is that an installer plugs in power, plugs in the network, walks away. He's done. As long as the system sees it, it'll take care of all the rest of the provisioning on the backside. We've been iterating on speed testing, and we released Bring Your Own Speedster, but depending on your existing configuration and some of the security policies on that router that may already exist, sometimes doesn't behave as well as it could. So we're going to keep improving on speed tests to make it more reliable, more accurate, as well as ready for automation and reporting and alerting. So imagine seeing a top list of those users who regularly are at the top of their bandwidth usage for their package, and being able to get alerts when important routers are running out of available capacity. I heard some Minim talk earlier. Recently, Minim announced the sunsetting of their MikroTik managed Wi-Fi platform. And we're currently helping several customers automate the migration and cleanup of their routers from Minim to the RemoteWinBox platform. If you'd like to hear more about that, let's get in touch. VPN streaming is a way to have an easy button for sending all traffic over a tunnel to your data center to prevent video shaping and interruption by your upstream. So next, we're also going to continue on the security aspect of things, and we've been working with Team Cymru, as you heard earlier about the Bogon security. We're going to enhance security on the global network and also provide malware and bad actor protections and notifications. So if you haven't heard of Team Cymru before, their mission is to save and improve lives by working with security teams around the world, enabling them to track and disrupt the most advanced bad actors and malevolent infrastructures. Team Cymru delivers comprehensive visibility into global cyber threat activity, and they're a key source of intelligence for many cybersecurity and threat intelligence vendors. So we integrated with Team Cymru the Bogon reference list last year, and so this year we're going to work on unwanted traffic removal service, or UTRS, and we're building an easy button to build peering with your Team Cymru account and pairing that with your MikroTik BGP border router. And then you'll be able to check status and easily participate in black holing unwanted traffic. I want to take a moment to explain the value of that use case here. So imagine that your customer is under a denial of service attack, distributed denial of service coming from all over the world. And with UTRS and RemoteWinBox, you see the victim that's under the attack, you click a button to go into mitigation mode. And at that point, service providers all over the world get notified of your desire to drop traffic to your victim. So this is different from typical DDoS mitigation, because rather than dealing with it on your side or using a scrubbing service, which might cost you big dollars and consume lots of bandwidth to deliver all of the attack packets that are already in motion to either you or your scrubbing service, with UTRS, those unwelcome packets, they get dropped way on the other side of the world, right near the source of that traffic. So that traffic doesn't consume your pipes nor global bandwidth for those who participate in the UTRS program. And with Nimbus threat monitoring, we'll be able to detect bad actors and malware endpoints and alert you in RemoteWinBox. Finally, we recognize that as RemoteWinBox becomes more and more adopted in networks all around the world, we need to ensure that our guides and documentation are top-notch. So we've been collecting interesting use cases, tips and tricks, as well as how-to guides, and we'll be releasing those and making them publicly available to help you get more done faster. If you'd like to see a tutorial or a how-to on something in particular, be sure to ask about it. Don't be afraid to drop us a line in the chat window here or follow up with a support email at support@remotewinbox.com. So that wraps up the roadmap part of our conversation. So now we'd like to hear your feedback and take your questions. Back to you, Claudia.
Thank you, thank you. Well, I didn't see a ton of Q&A in the chat, but I know that's because you guys were all listening so intently to all of the great information that was flying at you, that you were like, wow, all these features, this is amazing. So now is a good time to add questions to the chat window, if you have them, or if there's a functionality that you're really looking forward to that you want us to bump to the top of the list, then we can, obviously take that into account. So Tyler asks, is CRM sync only for inviting to EUV, i.e. our GPS cords update sync working today? End user view. So, so is the CRM sync only for inviting to end user view, or are GPS coordinates update sync working today? Mark or Mario?
I'll take that one. So the CRM sync currently is only for inviting the users to the end user view, and then you will also get, your name of your customer. We also pull in some information like which package you assign to the customer, things like that. When it comes to updating the GPS coordinates, that should be working today. We deployed that, I believe, last week. If you see it not working, do let me know. I'll take a look into it, but I'm 99% sure it's deployed all across all the cloud servers and all the Admiral servers.
Yeah, so I want to piggyback on that and talk a little bit about what's also coming. And so, right now today, there's a synchronization aspect that happens between RemoteWinBox pulling from Sonar, PowerCode, and other billing platforms are still in the mix to come. And as I mentioned earlier, what we might be able to do is, if that equipment exists in a CRM, we might be able to take that and apply certain templates based on what we find in the CRM. So maybe applying speed package profiles or Wi-Fi settings for first-time setup are both in the mix of things that we'd like to be able to accomplish and automate for you as we continue to evolve the platform. So if you have ideas on things you'd like us to be able to get out of your CRM and then do something with your MikroTik on that, be sure to let us know about that too.
And Tyler, I see your follow-up question. Yes, today it'll overwrite your existing coordinates and address in RemoteWinBox. If you think you'd like to have a choice, because to us this automation made sense. If you'd like to see the choice there, let me know. I can most definitely put this on the feature request list to make it a check mark or a button or something like that. But to us, it made sense to, just populate the data.
Great. And we have a question from Jeff, who's asking, in helping the migration from Minim, do you have a script that we can schedule in Fleet Commander to remove Minim components from migrated routers? And I know this is in a lot of people's minds these days of what's going on with Minim.
Yeah, so we're still in our early phases of working together on that. But what happened, we asked Minim if they'd like to have customers maybe have a little softer landing someplace else. And they said, well, maybe that depends on how much work we've got to put into it. So we gave them a little config snippet that will attach a MikroTik to our Bootstrap service, which is already the infrastructure that EasyConfig uses. And what that allows us to do is to say, hey, Minim routers that come over to our Bootstrap service, if we've got the MAC address of that router loaded in our database, we know which account to send that to. So when we see it come in, we will import it to your database, import it to your dashboard, and then it'll just be part of your deployment and ready to manage and manipulate. So then at that point, to answer your question, Jeff, we certainly can help in a couple of different ways to do Minim removal. One of the things that I know is on many Minim users' minds is that, hey, some of this Minim configuration consumes a lot of resources. So cleaning it off of there can restore a lot of performance. So we can either run some of that stuff on the backside once you've got all of your routers imported, or we can unlock and drop those into saved Fleet Commander jobs for you so that you can run them yourself. There's multiple options there available.
Now, there's a piggyback question off of the Minim conversation. During a migration, is there any ability in Fleet Commander to keep customers with static IP addresses that are already deployed?
Sure, I can take that. So I think when you deploy a Minim MikroTik or many other management platforms, they kind of expect for a configuration to be a certain way and a router to behave a certain way. RemoteWinBox doesn't have that mentality. We really consider that MikroTik is a Swiss Army knife, and it may be used for any use case. So it might be your BGP border router, it might be an OSPF core router, could be infrastructure, backhaul, wireless for the house, CPE, all of the above. So we don't take any actions when you import a router to our dashboard. Whatever configuration it had on it, but before it came into RemoteWinBox is the same configuration it'll have once it's imported. And we'll just discover that, start taking backups of that within the first day automatically. And then only when you tell our system, hey, I want to update the SSID or passphrase, or hey, I want to launch a fleet commander command to do some task. Only at that point will we take action and start manipulating the configuration.
Great. And I think Candace also put the link to the Minim blog post that Tyler Casey had mentioned that, yeah, we do have a blog post out there for specifically for Minim users. So please take advantage of that. Tyler says, would love to see webhooks for notifications to integrate with Slack and Discord. So a little feature request there. We love it. From Luri here, or Yuri, we see, we are an MSP in Brazil and we are very excited to be using RemoteWinBox. This is just a nice comment. You have a great product on your hands. I'm sure customers are looking forward to the important new features mentioned. I appreciate the opportunity and thank RemoteWinBox team for their time and dedication. So that's for our dev team out there and our team, just to feel really good and get the little heart emojis going. So thank you guys so much for that. One of the other questions that we've heard a lot is, so I'm just going to throw this one out there for you guys, is what about mesh Wi-Fi? Does anybody want to take that question? Because I know we've heard that before, even if nobody's asked about that today.
Yeah, so I'll run with that one. I'm going to distinguish mesh Wi-Fi and say maybe we mean wireless backhaul, not necessarily mesh, but wireless connected microtics that can, operate on the same network without wires. In that case, many people will call that mesh Wi-Fi. That's what we're talking about here. And I'm currently working on a blog post to talk about, hey, best practices. Here's how we think you should deploy that. As far as the dashboard handling that, you may be seeing on the roadmap, there's quite a lot of things that we're working on. So while I do think that we will get there, I don't think that we're going to get there in the next 30 to 60 days on having wireless. Already what we've got, if you look under your beta features, we've got the ability to update SSID and passphrase and frequency channel width. There's not full parity yet there between a Wi-Fi connected router and a CAPSMAN connected router. And so Tyler, I think, knows this. That's one of the things we're working on definitely in the next 30 days is, hey, we need to get there and finish up getting CAPSMAN parity. And then also important to us, support for those AX routers. So in the next 30 to 60 days, we also need to build support for AX routers. And then once some of that Wi-Fi stuff is off of our plate, then next up will be to do Wi-Fi only provisioning. And that'll include doing all of the other provisioning pieces that we talked about, applying templates to microtics. So that's all coming in the same time frame, a little bit later, but to kind of tide you over for now, where you've got use cases where, hey, I need this thing to work. We are going to publish a blog post in the next week or two. I've got it working in my lab. I just have to finish the documentation so that we say, hey, here's how we suggest you do it. And if you do it this way, this is how RemoteWinBox is going to do it when we get the software pieces in there that perform those buttons.
Right. And you guys, if you want to add any more questions to the chat, we're still taking questions. But I am going to ask you guys, if you're not already typing something in the chat, we want to know, like, as we mentioned, we're going to be improving our documentation, adding also educational videos, maybe about, microtics in general. So what we want to know is, as we create more educational content, what is it that you want to know about? And Mario had mentioned that you can send a support, or I wasn't sure if it was Mario or Mark said that you can send a support ticket. You can mention it now though as well, because while we're still on here, we want to know what you are interested in learning and about putting your network together. But I have another question for you, Mark, or Mario, if you want to take it. But are there any plans for QoS implementation?
I could jump in there. So one thing that we think is probably useful is to grab the, we've got some CRM integrations right now with some billing providers. And if we can grab the speed package there, it might be useful for us to do some enforcement of the speed package policy on that router. But as far as QoS goes, there's some ideas that are percolating. There's some stuff on the drawing board, but nothing is committed at this point. It would really take some more feature requests for us to get to, hey, this has got enough +1s now that we want to tackle this implementation. We've got knowledge and expertise in-house. We've got a whole bunch of MikroTik background and years of experience, but obviously, again, there's a lot of stuff on the roadmap. We can't tackle it all, so we pick and choose the things that are most popular and most valuable for our customers. So if you want to see QoS in the dashboard, you're gonna have to let us know that, hey, that's an important one that you guys should be working on.
Yep. We've mentioned it before. We'll mention it a million times again. We love to get feedback from you guys about what is it that you are looking to get out of this platform to make your jobs easier, to make your teams work more efficiently. That's our goal, is to be supportive of you and your teams. And we do that really by building the platform that you want to have that's going to work the best for you. So other billing integrations, I know we have a couple in the platform or in the pipeline of that are going to be coming out soon. Does anybody want to mention anything about more billing integrations before we kind of finished off here?
I guess I can kind of talk a little bit about that. So we heard from our customers a lot, hey, we need power code integration, we need Sonar integration, something needs to start happening to make less data input happen. And we've heard a couple of times that Visp would be useful. I think if I remember right, I heard Platypus before too. We had some relationship with guys from Sonar and power code, and some integration went easier and some a little harder, but after all, we managed to get some parity between those two. And we would, I think for Visp, we would really need Visp users to tell them, hey, you need to do some sort of a integration with RemoteWinBox, because that just seems to be the way they do these things. Platypus, I'm not so sure about, haven't looked into that one yet. But again, the more of those +1s we hear, the faster these things will, get on the roadmap.
And Tyler just mentioned pre-seam. So integration with pre-seam. He's +1ing that.
Yeah, so with pre-seam, what are the thoughts behind that? Are we thinking like tying the ability to cut through dashboard wise to kind of land in the right place in the dashboard, or is there other thoughts on pieces that might fit together?
Great, he's typing. He's typing. In the meantime, while Tyler is typing, I'm just gonna say that Jeff has +1 on the Visp integration. Oh, now we got 2. Oh, Mario says yes. Eric says yes. Okay, that's our teammates plus giving the thumbs up on that. So they have.
So we've actually got a deployment coming up this week that I think is championing the CEO roundtable requirement for Visp. So I think Visp is in those wheels are in motion. That one is turning. It probably wouldn't hurt to have multiple folks show up at the CEO roundtable and go, hey, you guys haven't heard of these guys, but you need to work with them on getting my thing going.
Nice. And Jeff said that he would do that. He would reach out to Visp and let them know to integrate with us, which is great. Excellent. All right. And Tyler says, I was thinking being able to match up pre-seam performance metrics of the connection with LAN devices on the TIC. Like if pre-seam shows high latency, RemoteWinBox can show which device was using traffic at that time. Does that, Mark's wheels are turning now.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of whether do we get that data from pre-seam and then crunch some numbers and spit that out on our screen, or do we try to make pre-seam aware of things that they could get from us so that they can crunch some numbers and put it on their screen? That's a good use case. I'll probably reach out to Jeremy and maybe some of the other guys over there and see if they've got thoughts on what might make sense and be valuable. I know same with them, they're always busy with nonstop integrations of features, but at the same time, there's definitely a lot of value in tying our systems together. And I know they recognize that, and they're happy to work with others where we can be mutually beneficial to customers.
That's excellent. All right. Well, okay, last call for questions or comments about what type of educational content you'd like to see out there later. We do appreciate you guys being here today. I mean, obviously we would be nothing without our customers supporting us, helping us make the platform better. So, you know, this isn't the last conversation. So we really appreciate you guys being here today. Of course, you can always reach out to us, support@RemoteWinBox, and let us know what you think of our roadmap. Let us know what you think of our plans for 2023. And of course, let us know if there's something that we're missing that we need to add on for you in the future. With that being said, you guys, thank you so much for coming. Thanks to our team for being on here. And thanks so much to all of you guys for being here. We will see you guys again in the future. Bye.
Thanks for moderating, Claudia. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thanks, everyone.